Groups debuting with literal singles. I'm looking at you, Ivan Kepler. To me it seems like more groups as of recent have been debuting with a single or EPs rather than multiple songs. I get it's probably safer for companies to make one song than to have an entire album flop. But it's really hard to determine if you'll like a group based on one song. For example, aespa debuted with Black Mamba and then they had like 3 songs for a year. And while I wanted to stan them, I really couldn't because they barely had any music, not to mention Blackpink either. Here's to hoping future groups will debut with more than 1 or 2 songs. Infantilizing idols. Okay, this basically refers to when people treat an idol like a child. I see this in K-pop fandoms all too often and it's just so weird to me. Like you'll have idols who are literally 25 years or older and their fans totally disregard that. I can only imagine how uncomfortable this makes idols. Especially considering how much criticism they already get as idols. Basically, I wish people would realize idols are human beings too. And they're not for you to treat like children. Ageism. On the other side of this I see so much ageism in the K-pop industry. First we have like 14-year-olds debuting, which is a whole other issue on its own. And then people criticizing older female idols. Like the amount of times I've seen someone call Irene a MILF or hag is literally so disgusting. She is only like 30 years old. Now I know this issue extends to men as well. However, I see mostly women getting the worst of ageism. Most men I see are praised for looking younger than they actually are, whereas girl groups rarely last longer than 7 years. And this affects K-pop fans as well. If you're treating 30-year-old idols like they're super old, you'll have so much internalized ageism by that point. Plus the K-pop industry feeds into this. I got into K-pop when I was around 12 and now I feel so old in this regard. At first idols debuting were like 6 years older than me, and now they're a lot younger. Of course this is natural as time goes on. However, it's just really confusing to watch as people your age are considered too old to debut even if they're like 18 to 20 years old. People will call these same 20-year-olds hags. Like, do you not know what that means? I don't know how this issue can even be resolved, but how about we start having some respect? Misogyny. This kinda relates to the ageism point, but it seems like female idols get so much more criticism than males do. Whenever there is a dating scandal, people will immediately attack the woman. Like Joy and Hyuna immediately come to my mind. Also, Wonyoung and Jennie have gotten so much flack for looking lazy or underinterested when they're performing. But a man can do the same thing and nobody will bat an eye. The double standards in K-pop are so obvious in this regard. Thinking singing high notes equals amazing vocalist. Now I don't mean to discredit idols who can do this. So many of my favorite vocalists in K-pop utilize their higher register. But for some reason K-pop fans seem to think that if you can't hit a high note you're immediately a terrible vocalist. Like, what? Having people of multiple vocal ranges is necessary in a group, and it's for sure a lot more interesting to listen to in a song. For example, Jihyun from NCT is one of my favorite vocalists who has a baritone voice. And even if he isn't hitting high notes 24/7, that doesn't mean he's not talented. Also, liking a vocalist is subjective in a lot of regards. Not just dependent on how many perfect high notes they can do.